UK oil and gas has been much in the news of late, a lot of investor interest. We're joined now by Stephen Sanderson, the chief executive. Stephen, good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too, Alistair. Nice to be on your program.
No, it's a pleasure to have you. Let's talk about UK oil and gas a little bit now. So the company's been transitioning a little bit away from the traditional oil and gas sector and now is becoming much more focused on hydrogen. So tell us a little bit more about what's going on there.
Yeah, we've been working on these hydrogen storage and now some hydrogen generation projects for about 4 years or so. I suppose we're atoning for our sins in the oil and gas space in the sense that we're now firm advocates of clean power. The hydrogen storage, as I'm sure many people will know, but perhaps not the new investors that are now on board. It's really our core skill sets, drilling wells, subsurface, planning and implementing large-scale facility projects. They're directly transferable to, the energy transition, clean power in this hydrogen storage, where we're planning to create salt caverns, three-quarters of a mile to a mile underground in Dorset and Yorkshire, to form really the backbone of the hydrogen system and, the clean power system for the UK.
So this is Project Union that you're referring to, a collaboration with National Gas that was recently announced. Tell us a little bit more about the opportunity here. Why does the UK need hydrogen storage, and what's the financial opportunity for a company like yours?
Okay, there's a multifaceted question there, but I think firstly, National Gas is a big player. They are the backbone of the current national natural gas system. Their pipeline supply, 24 million homes and 35 power stations, etc., etc. So they are a big player, and they will be a big player in the future sort of clean power space. They really want to. This Project Union is basically their equivalent of their current national transmission system in hydrogen. So, for an effective hydrogen system, you will obviously need pipelines to connect to hydrogen producers, hydrogen storage, and of course, they will be a big player. And I think it's very telling with this the MOU that we've done that they underline the criticality of their pipeline being connected to, at scale hydrogen storage that we're planning, in Yorkshire and in Dorset. And the reason for that is basically they need to have access to the storage, specifically, in the early and coming days of the system, so that they can buffer supply and demand, so that they can effectively maintain, say, the operating pressures and operating effectiveness of their pipeline. So that's one key element of it. The other key element of the sort of relationship with National Gas is that whilst the current government have basically been fairly silent about, the hydrogen sector, and certainly the storage and transport, pipeline sector until fairly recently. They've now come out. We had a meeting with them on the end of September the 23rd, I think it was. And now for this allocation support for hydrogen storage and transportation, companies, both storage and pipeline companies, are going to have to submit joint applications. So having an MOU in cooperation with basically the company who plans to be the country's main hydrogen pipeline provider is absolutely key to the future for us. And there's another point as well, in the sense that the Project Union, the first phase of that, which is due to sort of come into operation around 2032, the collaboration means that pipeline system is going to be the first phase of it will be in East Yorkshire and Teesside, and that pipeline will either come to or very close to our Yorkshire site, And National Gas also see our South Dorset site being the only major sort of hydrogen storage node in the south of England as being absolutely critical for them to extend Project Union sort of first phase from the sort of the north into the south of the UK. So it's a big cooperation for us. I mean, they're huge and we're tiny, but we both have a mutual need to support each other, shall we say?
Yeah, it looks like you're perfectly positioned to do that. Now, you're quite well funded as well, at least for the immediate term. Tell us a little bit about the funding that's come into the company. You were oversubscribed, I assume, because you've come back and got some more money over the last week or so. So lots and lots of
Yeah,
interest from investors.
yes, it's I have to say that I'm delighted and actually somewhat humbled by the sort of the interest and obviously the enthusiasm for our projects and of course the company. We are now in a very solid position. This funding really will strengthen our applications with the government for revenue support for one hydrogen storage project. It's going to enable us to do. We're looking at another smaller scale project in Dorset, which is kind of, whereas the main hydrogen storage, if you like, is very large national scale. So that's kind of top down with government support. What we're looking at is also building hydrogen sort of demand in Dorset, kind of from the bottom up. We've got a industrial user there who's very well known name in Dorset. They have quite a lot of natural gas that they use, and they want to convert to hydrogen. And we're also talking with the council there about putting a site on council land as well. So that will that money really puts us in a very good position for the coming years, frankly. It's I suppose if someone had told me that we would resume trading and be able to raise 4.5 million, I would have thought that was an interesting thought. But yeah, I mean, we had a lot of demand for it, which is encouraging. I think the projects are themselves very real, and I think the other thing to point out is that whilst government has been a bit woolly until recently, in the last sort of 3 weeks, the picture has really started to crystallize in the sense that they've now issued the sort of eligibility criteria for the hydrogen storage and also hydrogen transport pipeline allocation rounds. And they've also announced that these will now start in spring next year and close, 3 to 6 months after opening, something like that. So I think that's generally very good. I mean, markets and investors do not like uncertainty. I guess none of us like uncertainty. So I think it's very good, and it bodes well for us, sort of looking for a strategic partner that the government is now making things more certain than it was before.
So tell us about your search for a strategic partner then. What will that entail?
Well, basically, because we're oil and gas guys, we like to follow simple things that we've done many times before. And what we're really looking for is, a major sort of infrastructure, preferably, underground storage, pipeline, large scale infrastructure project company. We've been talking with a couple of international ones, European and a Japanese. And the model is very much a sort of oil and gas farm out where they come in and they take up to a 50% interest in the venture, and they provide a big name, maybe some of the funding. But I think to grab government attention and to make it real, having a big name never hurts. We've got a number of letters of intent and MOUs with companies like the RWE, Sumitomo, SGN, now National Gas. So, we have been punching above our weight when we're talking to these people. I mean, after spending 40 plus years or so in the oil and gas industry, I have good contacts in lots of companies globally that a large scale. I mean, my background's big oil basically, so I've got a good international network. So, but I think it's true to say that large companies, although they have a lot of capital, they are generally fairly risk averse, and they also like certainty. And I think until recently, the government's sort of attitude of pushing things to the right hasn't really helped. But as I said, finally, we seem to be seeing movement now, and we have some deadlines, which is refreshing, really. I mean, it's I can only hope that things continue to move in that positive direction.
Stephen Sanderson, thanks very much for talking to us today.
Yeah, thanks very much, Alistair. Pleasure.